Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. And welcome back to Martial Arts Mayhem, where I predominantly talk about martial arts related content within entertainment for the month of May. You know, the 1980s was a very special time, especially when you were a teenager and a little kid like me. There are so many things that came out of the 80s that people still use as a bit of a bookmark today. And that's mainly due to the creativity of the 80s, which was astronomical. And I don't understand or know how people were able to think of these things, but it was fucking awesome. But not all things were just, made out of the blue. Some things were of great creative means that just needed a little addition to them. And that's what happened to the martial arts craze in the mid-1980s with The Karate Kid. Daniel LaRusso is having a hard time adapting to his new life in California. This is mainly due to the continuous harassment he is receiving from a group of snobby rich kids who also happen to be karate practitioners. Daniel finds solace in his building super, Mr. Miyagi, who has observed Daniel's plight secretly. When the teenager's harassment drastically escalates, Miyagi reveals himself to be a lifelong karate practitioner and offers to help Daniel overcome the bullying through unconventional means. In the early 80s, the Kung Fu craze started to wane down, and also around that time, people thought the Kung Fu craze and martial arts were all the same thing, not realizing that there were different martial arts styles other than Kung Fu, Karate, and Judo. Around the mid-1980s, the martial arts craze came back, but in more creative means. This is where The Karate Kid comes into play, because people were used to martial arts movies just being action subgenres. No one thought to take it as serious as a dramatic movie. It took director John Avildsen, same director that directed Rocky, to take on this project and use martial arts in a more dramatic yet fairly relatable means. Teenage angst that you definitely feel with the performance of Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso. Daniel comes off as your average kid who has a fascination with martial arts. But besides all of this, he still has a lot to learn, and he has a lot of growing pains with not only being a fish out of water, being energetic, but being someone that is not born into privilege, which was something that a lot of people envisioned about people in California in the 80s. Wealth and privilege, which is something that Daniel didn't have. Ralph Macchio's performance is not the only great one. Noriyuki Morita, aka Pat Morita, who played Mr. Miyagi. Noriyuki's performance in this was so mesmerizing and so captivating that not only earned him an Academy Award nomination, it caused people to bring him back to the original TV series he was in, which was Happy Days. Mr. Miyagi has this real calm about him, is not conventional. This is like the most unsuspecting person you would actually think is a martial artist. That's how things go with martial arts. It is always what is the things that are not conventional are your best teachers, which is one thing that The Karate Kid does. It focuses more on the philosophy of karate, not just the punching, the kicking, and the fighting. It teaches you the reason behind each strike, each technique, each way that you learn. And the way that one person learns martial arts is not the same way everyone will learn martial arts. But I gotta say one thing. You cannot solely learn martial arts by a book. But The Karate Kid is not just teen angst and teen sap and teen drama. We have a great soundtrack, Bananarama with their hit Cruel Summer in here. And we also have the Karate Kid score, which is a very harmonic Japanese overtone to it, which is fairly beautiful and is one of the best scores that I've actually ever heard. Now I know I've just focused on Ralph Macchio and Noriyuki Morita's, but those are not the only good performances in this movie. We actually have Elizabeth Shue, who plays Allie, is the type of girl that is very beautiful, yet is fairly open-minded for her age, but is also kind of fleeting. Great complex female teenager, to be honest with you. We also have William Z, who I can't pronounce his last name, Daniel's main antagonist. He does a great job displaying that he is a spoiled rich kid that is used to having things his way all the time. This is fed by his teacher, Martin Kove, who does a great job as Sensei Kreese. Oh my god, there's an interesting cameo. We got Pat E. Johnson here. He was actually in Enter the Dragon, one of the people that sent to collect money from Roper. Interesting cameo by him in this movie, I must say. Now, I have a personal beef with this movie, because karate is actually my favorite martial arts style. And as good as this movie is, it had a negative impact on how karate was taught in the United States for a time period, because people were mostly focused on point scoring, which is my initial introduction to martial arts training. My first place was a Taekwondo place that focused on point scoring, which would not really prepare you for combat in the streets, let alone teach you enough of the philosophy behind the martial arts. But that's my main beef with this movie. There are other small nitpicks here and there that I can't go into without displaying clips. However, those aside, we have an awesome take on a martial arts movie, something that no one has ever tried to experiment with in the United States at the time. We have outstanding performances. We also have a great soundtrack and one of the most memorable fight scenes and quotable movies of all time. It's no surprise that The Karate Kid is amazeballs. Agree? Disagree? Please drop me a comment below, give me a like, follow me on Facebook at Token Dave or on Twitter at TokenDave80, subscribe, and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, a dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. I'll catch all of you later.